So what should you do? Like you've got one virtual assistant, but then they're sort of getting close to the maximum number of hours that they have available. It'll depend from person to person, but if they start getting close to 6, 8 hours a day, whatever. Once they start getting pretty close to the maximum amount of work that they're able to do, you're going to need to bring more people on. And this is why I always recommend that from the start, you really want to have, your first employee be somebody that you could see as a manager. Because some people are built for it, some people aren't, and you need somebody who's really going to be able to be bumped up to that when you're ready to bring more people on board. When you bring more people on board, you don't want to have just those people and they're all reporting to you because it becomes very stressful and then your time gets spent up just trying to manage all these people and make sure stuff's happening. What I recommend doing is hiring the first person you hire, have them be someone that can become a manager, and then when you bring somebody else on board, talk to them first. Say, hey, we're going to be bringing somebody else on board to help out with this stuff. I want you to be their manager. Give them a slight raise. Give them like 50 cents more an hour or something like that, $1 more an hour. And be like, you're going to be the manager now, and I want you to just, I'm going to talk with you, and then you're going to communicate with them, make sure everything's going well, and then try to be as hands-off as you can and let them coordinate with each other. Let the manager train the new employee, assuming that it's a similar kind of job. It's not like a completely new task. It's just more of the same old that the other dude knows. And yeah, that's how I would handle it. Sort of just be hands off, and you can kind of watch and listen. It's actually really cool when you've got somebody that you've hired that you're then you just sit hands off and you just watch and let them train the other person. It's actually a really cool feeling. And it can be very hard because you want to be like, oh wait, no, do this, and even it's not 100% perfect, it's not taking up your time, and if there's a concern, you got to respect your manager as the manager. If you make them the manager, you don't step in and say, actually, no, the manager is wrong. I am the boss. You want to structure it all well. So if the manager trains them incorrectly or something, then you talk to your manager and be like, hey, I noticed you trained them to do it this way, but actually it would be better if you could have it, work out this way. And then could you communicate that to them and sort of get it all worked out? And then they can communicate it to the new employee, because you don't want to just like call out the manager, and because then that just sort of creates this weird like power thing where it's like, okay, well, I'm the new employee, but am I listening to the person you're saying is my manager, or do I listen to you, or do I really have to listen to the manager if you're just going to cut in and you want to make sure that I would just say, stay hands off, let the manager handle everything. If it's the same job the manager person's already been doing, then let them kind of figure it out, and be like, hey, communicate with the manager, and then let the manager communicate with the employee, and you can say, hey, and thanks, you're doing a good job, but for the most part, try to let them handle it as much as possible. I let my manager completely write the schedules for him and the other employees, and it's actually worked out great. The more hands off you are, the better stuff seems to work, or at least in my case. Because they can just sort of coordinate, and they handle all the communication, and you don't have to. And again, it's a lot easier to communicate with one person who is the manager that is in charge of the other 4 or 5 people than it is to try to individually communicate with everybody. And when you want to have a group meeting or something like that, you can be, hey, dude, manager man, can you please coordinate with everybody and figure out a time next week that we can all meet and talk about this, which is a change, or blah, 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 blah. It's very convenient. So, yeah, I guess those are my thoughts for, when you bring somebody on board, if you can have one person managing the other, or the other, several, that's very helpful and helps you sort of stay hands off, and lets them, stay on top of everything, makes everything work well, and saves you from a lot of communication issues. Also, I mentioned communication changes completely when you go from having one employee to having multiple, and I recommend using Discord. You could also use Slack, but Slack you have to pay for, and Discord's like the exact same thing for free. So just use the app Discord to communicate, because you can use it on your phone, you can use it on the computer, you can have different chats that and rankings for people, so you can have managers be able to see all these things, and then you can have this kind of rank which can only see these chats, and this rank which can see these chats, and it just makes it easier. because you can communicate with everybody all in one place, and it's much nicer that way.
Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. If you're new to dropshipping and you're trying to figure out how to get started, I've got a full free set of training videos down there, link in the description. It goes over everything you need to know about how to get started making money online. And the average person following my method makes around $500 to $800 profit per month after expenses for each 1,000-item eBay store that they have set up and running. They're really not that hard to get started. If you've got any questions about anything dropshipping related, feel free to hit me up on Facebook. I'll put a link down there, as well as a link to a group that I started with hundreds of other dropshippers that you can join. I post new content on this channel every couple days, so go ahead and subscribe and click the notifications, and I'll see you back here with another video in a couple days.